name is Trevor Russell. I'm the director of the Results Investment Group, and I've created this short education explanation video to talk through how self-managed super fund property investing works, how we are helping hardworking, smart executives, medical and health professionals, miners, engineers, IT people, financial services employees, marketing and sales and government employees, and some self-employed business owners by going through a process and showing them and educating them, helping them get set up and on the right path to building a financially free retirement using self-managed super fund property investments done the right way. And I'm going to show you in this presentation how everyday people like you and me are on their way to building multi-million-dollar asset holdings through property and 5- and 6-figure incomes come retirement. One of the things I'm very passionate about is helping, and it's my mission, 1,000 people to retire financially free. And as you'll see in this presentation, if you stay all the way through with me, if this is a strategy that could be a benefit to you and comparing what an employee super fund looks like compared to one property investment in a self-managed super fund, which for the right people with the right mindset and following the process can be an absolute game changer to retiring financially free and creating real peace of mind, knowing that they're on the right path. Let's jump into the presentation because as the saying goes, time is money. We can always make more money, but we can never make more time. So let's get the most value for your time. The first thing is, before we get into the guts of the presentation, I do want to say, oh, there I am. That's cartoon Trevor, and this is real Trevor. But on a more serious note, this presentation is for education purposes and general advice only. This content does not consider your personal financial circumstances and in no way gives warranty to the information provided. Please always consult a licensed financial professional who understands self-managed super fund property investing and will provide you with unbiased advice before making any financial decisions. If you don't have a licensed financial professional or you do want to seek a second opinion, I have a team of professional experts and we can assist you with determining whether this is a viable strategy for you and take you through all the appropriate steps to make sure that if you do this, that you're doing it the right way. But I'll tell you more about that in this short education presentation. So stay with me and let's have some fun and let's do some good learning here. Once upon a time, there were two couples. Both couples were around 22 years out of retirement, time to retire, and I'm working through this whole presentation on the figure of 67 years come retirement. Of course, you want to keep working, you can, and I'm not going to go into all the specifics around that, but just for some basic benchmarks for this presentation and its content, both couples about 22 years out from retirement, both in their 40s, and they both have 180,000 in combined super. Now, couple one, they decide to stay with the employer super fund model. And on the projections, which working on average returns of a super fund and just compound growth over these 22 years, this couple would have around $1.1 million in their super fund. Not a bad result for all those years of hard work. But then we have our second couple, 22 years on. They took a slightly different direction and they went and set up a super fund. They put their super money into the super fund and they went and purchased one property in their super fund. What did they achieve by going down that path? Well, this couple purchased a $600,000 property owned by their self-managed super fund, working on the average projections, which I'll go through in a moment. This asset would be worth over $4.4 million, and they would have $119,000 on average income that will continue to go up in value. Because here's the other thing, and no disrespect to super funds, because I know they have a job to do and they have a service, and for a lot of people it's very beneficial. This strategy is not for everyone. It is for the more open, willing to learn, advanced investor. But as I'll show you in this presentation, anything's possible to learn if you really want to. But respect to the managed fund, but this fund has to be spent because it's a lump sum of money. And sure, you'll get a little bit of growth each year, and that is a possibility, but generally we find it's not enough to fund a retirement, i.e. replace your income and have enough money to fund your retirement. So generally an annuity is set up and that money's spent over time. Yep. Whereas a property investment for the right person has an asset that continues to go up in value and also derives an income off that asset. Looking at our two couples, if you can relate, which one would you choose? And if you didn't, why would that be so, if it was relevant to you? Because this is something that we see with a lot of people that we're talking to. While many can benefit from taking this approach, it's only a very few that actually take the steps to make this a reality. So I guess the question is right up front here, if you can relate to this, which path would you choose? We'll talk more about that in the presentation. Let's continue. Just to clarify that you're in the right presentation and this is of value and benefit to you, just move my little head here. Are you someone who wants to know how a self-managed super fund property investment works? What are the benefits and what are the potential risks? If you're really wanting to know how you can achieve substantial changes to the potential of your future wealth and looking at better returns, is that you? The next thing is concerned about the risks of the government taking money from your hard-earned super. Well, if we can look at our current government that's just gotten in, could be a very real concern. A very real concern, because there is a lot of money sitting in super and the government's always looking for ways to get more money, right? And potentially a super fund, a self-managed super fund, gives the investor a lot more control as to what they can do with that money, where to move it, how to adjust it to make it work for them and to keep their hard-earned money and not give excessive amounts of money away to a government that's just going to spend it, right? So we want you to be able to preserve your wealth and have a real financial freedom, and also too, not be a burden. This is a very real way to be a self-funded retiree, to actually take the burden off the government. Are you motivated to know how to drive your own wealth building and benefit from long-term self-managed super fund property investing? And really, I think if you're here, I'd like to consider and believe that you are here because you want to know how to build significantly more wealth, retire richer, and enjoy the financial free retirement that you deserve. There are options, and done right, you've worked hard, and why not maximize the potential of what you can achieve in the long term for all these years of hard work? And this super is your money. It's not the government's money. It's not the employee's money. It's your money. And sure, let's pay some tax. Let's take care of our country, but also let's take care of the most important person here, which is you, to make sure that you are in a very, very nice retirement, financially free position. And that's what I'm dedicated to helping you to learn more about in this presentation. Who can benefit from a self-managed super fund property investment strategy? Let's go through it. You would be employed or self-employed. You are generally aged, these are the people that we work with and talk to, generally aged between 20 and 50, because as you'll learn if you don't already know, the way this strategy works amongst a couple of key areas, it's time. We need time in the investment for this strategy to work. But as you'll also learn, even if you're in your 50s, you can still benefit from this strategy. You can actually even benefit from it after retirement. There's a whole lot of other tax benefits and a whole lot of other stuff that is not for this presentation. But for this presentation to be building that multi-million-dollar 5 and 6 figure income asset, we're talking about people that are between 20 and 50 and are receiving 85,000 or up, single or combined before tax income, because it's the super contribution that also goes towards making this strategy work, which I'll explain to you more in a moment. You've got the plan and you will be working for at least 15 or more years because, again, as I said, it's the time in the investment that makes this strategy work. And you'll be receiving or paying yourself, if you're self-employed, a super contribution for 15 or more years. These are the key points that would help clarify that you're heading in the right direction to be able to have this strategy work for you. And you have at least $160,000 or more, either on your own or with a partner, as a combined super account balance, because we're going to need this money to be able to acquire an asset, a property in your super fund, for this particular strategy. What are the other contributing factors that for this type of person who can benefit from a self-managed super fund property investment, what are they going to have that the masses don't do and won't do? Because I think I share in this presentation a little while down, further on, over 14 million people in Australia receive some form of employer super contribution, yet less than 8% have a proactive self-managed super fund property strategy in place to be able to really expedite the growth of their financial freedom. And I guess it's like most things in life, isn't it? It's always going to be about 8 to 10% of people that will be doing things differently to get a much better result. So if you feel that and that is why we found a lot of the people that we're talking to and helping and are our clients are people that are got good education, are motivated and have done well in their careers because they just have that particular mindset. Executives, good income earning miners, and engineers, medical and health professionals, financial services professionals, people that have got that mindset and are willing to do things differently to get a better result, and the discipline that comes with it. And it's people who want to have better options to build wealth, i.e. not just for residential property, but for self-employed people that buy their own commercial buildings and property within their super fund. And I also own stocks in my super fund. And you can still invest in managed funds and EFTs in your self-managed super fund. And that's the benefit of a good self-managed super fund investment strategy, can really help you get a far better result because you've got the ability to diversify and leverage your money in much smarter ways, which we'll go through more in a moment. And the other people that we speak to are people that are not even ready yet. Maybe it's someone whose income is still increasing, they're in their 20s, and they're not quite at the point yet on their super fund balance, but they want to have a plan. They want to know, okay, what benchmarks do I need to reach? i.e., how much income do I need to be making? What does my super fund balance need to be before I'm in a position to get myself into a good little investment property in my super fund and make it work that it's covering all the super fund expenses and also helping me to control a growing asset, which is my investment property in my super fund. And as I said, smarter, emotionally aware, because this is also an emotional journey, and people that we see that don't go down this path, it's because they buy into the stories of fear and, oh, what if this happens and I get it wrong and lose my money? I've got to wait till, planet Mars aligns with Jupiter. I'm being a bit cheeky, but buying into the emotion, whereas our smarter, more educated client base, they understand that that just comes with learning something new, and they're willing to invest the time now and get the education and support and process so they can have the time and financial freedom later, and they just know that that's just part of learning anything new. It's all taking one step and the next, achieve the goal. Knowing how to do this properly is no rocket science. It's just the desire and willingness, and obviously ticking the basic points to actually be able to do this and stay the long term to make it work. Why are more people looking at self-managed super fund investment strategies? Well, look, I've put some stats here on a more challenging conversation to have here, and even consider this yourself. If it's ticking the boxes for you that this feels it could be a benefit to you, what is your current super balance? And if you contacted your superannuation fund and asked them on the trajectory that you're heading, how much will you have in your super fund on their average return per annum come your retirement? And if that's a figure that you're starting to consider, that is not going to be enough. If it's enough, fantastic. Or if you've got other assets, great. I'm just talking about super here today. But if you don't, and this could be a potential opportunity for you, I'd highly recommend that you do that exercise, because a lot of people don't even know. Most people don't even look at this. Again, no disrespect, but the majority of people don't forward plan, don't even consider what their options could be. Even when I meet with clients and we go through a process to map out what their goal would be come retirement type of income assets, even savvy people that we work with, they don't know, because it's just not something that we're ever taught to do. I don't know about you, but I never went to the class at school which was, hey, how much money do you want to have? How do you buy a house? How do you budget? How do you save? How do you build financial freedom? I didn't go to that class. Maybe you did. I'm being sarcastic. But coming back to here, the stats are, and this is from the 2023 Superannuation Account Balance Report, a couple of years on now. I will get an updated one, but I know the numbers aren't going to be too much different, if anything at all, different at all. But 80% of Australians aged between 65 and 69 have a total cash value, and it's interesting how it's written, of less than $500,000 in super come the time of retirement. Men on average in this age will have around 211,000. Women on average will have 158,000. Even if you have 500,000 in your super account come 67, with 20 years to live, that's $25,000 a year. Now, if you've been on a good 5 to 6 figure income for all these years and reverting to that, sure, you'll get some government benefits, some other bits and pieces, but we want financial freedom. We want the ability to be able to live really well. And you may continue to work. You may continue to do things, but why not have millions and an income coming in, if this is relevant for you, than not? But there's no reason other than the fear and the putting it off. It's possible, and I'll show you. So that's the negative out of the way. You've done the most amazing things. You've learned the most amazing things. If you're watching this video, I know that you would have gotten education, you would have a career, you would do some things that were once completely brand new to you and possibly very overwhelming, and you didn't know how to do it. It's like going on a journey somewhere. In the beginning, you don't know where you are learning to drive a car, just like learning to drive a car. You never knew how to do it. You've got the right coach, the right support, the right driver mentor. You studied the road rules. You learned to drive the car. And then over time, you got better and better, but you needed to decide to start. And because you wanted to learn to drive, it's almost like you could not, because it's so important. Well, it's just the same with this. If this is something that resonates with you, if you have an important enough reason why, and you want to get to your destination, you can learn. And this is the beginning of that learning. So don't buy into fear and doubt. Don't buy into, oh, well, the system knows better. I'll just leave it there and hope and pray. If you've got any of those thoughts going on, they are simply thoughts. They're not real. You do have the ability to do something about it and at least find out. And you can learn how to do anything because you're smart and you've gotten this far, and you can learn how to do this too. Okay, I've got some case study examples here for you. Now, excuse all the numbers here, but what I've tried to do is give you a breakdown of what the options look like for different people that we've spoken to and we're working with, and what they're doing to get on their own journey to where they want to go to build real financial freedom come retirement. Here we have a gentleman, he's a CFO, and we have a nurse, 52 and 51. They want a goal of at least 2 million asset in their super, and they want $70,000 or more income come retirement, and they want the money to help fund a lifestyle after retirement. Pretty straightforward, right? Working on what they've got, 51, 52, around 15 years before they reach 67, and they may continue to work, but again, just working on that number. They currently hold 180 odd thousand, and it's going to be moved into a self-managed super fund. They receive a combined income of $190,000 with their 11.5 current employee super contribution, which will then go into their self-managed super fund. If they stay with their employer fund, or an employee fund, even in their self-managed super fund, they will, working on these numbers, they will have around 825,000 in their super. As I said, though, an annuity which is going to be spent over time. But they're going down this path, which is buying a property. They can buy $600,000 property, $730 a week average rent, working on an average growth through the highs and the lows. This is why property investing is a long-term strategy. Someone said to me the other day, but markets crashing up and down. They do, but I'm telling you, I've been in property investing for over 27 years now. I've gone through the GFC, I've gone through another high, another low, and it's still there. It's still ticking over. I bought a property here in Southport, little 2-bedroom apartment, 505,000, just under 3 years ago. It's now valued at 720. Property in good areas go up in value. They go up in value, but this is a long-term strategy. Now, coming back to here, 15 years, these growth potentials, they are going to have over $2 million. So they've achieved that goal in an asset value, and they're going to have over $90,000 in rental income, and they will actually own this property. I think it's within about 9 years or something, because as rent goes up, you're paying down the debt sooner. But apart from that, without even going down that road, no disrespect to anyone, but which would you prefer? The potential for that or that, right? These are very real numbers, very real situations. Okay, let's look at the next one. Here we have a miner. He's 43, 24 years to 67. He wants over 3 million in assets, and he wants 120,000 or more in income, and he wants to travel in his camper van and go on adventures come retirement, right? Now, let's look at the numbers. He's in a slightly stronger position. He's got 240,000, which he'll move into a super fund, his own super fund. He is making 186,000 gross income, and with his employer contribution, looking at the projections come retirement age, he'll have a nice amount of money if he stays with that fund. 1.6 million, not bad, right? But looking at a property strategy, because he's got more going in and he's got a higher income, the difference between time, because he's got 24 years as opposed to our previous couple who have 15 years, look at the difference. $4.7 million in an asset value, 153,000 in income, rental income. This has to be spent, this goes up. Now, while these are for education purposes and to give you examples only, if we ever speak and run the numbers, it's very doable. It's very, very doable strategy. Okay, next one for our example today, and then we'll move on. Excuse me, bit of sun here. Here we have a executive who works in the property finance sector, and we have started her plan, and she's on her way to getting all this set up. Her goal is to have at least 2.5 million and a 90,000 plus income in her super fund. And she's an executive. She's 39. She's got 28 years to retirement. She's got 28 years to retirement age. She's holding 175,000 in her super. She makes $95,000 before tax. Again, employer contribution. And this is what we've mapped out. If she stays this road, she does get a little bit more on her employer fund. Very hard to always work these numbers out because we've got prospectus return, then we have what they say, but then you do the costs, and we've done the analysis, and very often it's always a little bit different. But the power of property, why it's so different, is you are taking your 175,000 and you are buying an asset that goes up in value, and you're buying an asset that produces income. Much greater leverage power than just sitting it in a fund for its little percent every year. And again, respect to fund managers. This is a strategy that works very well for a lot of people because that is their temperament of investing. Whereas for someone who's willing to do things a little differently, to make sure that they're following the correct rules and taking care of their tenant and their property, the potential is far greater by doing a property investment strategy. 175 in income, a little bit lower purchase price. Because we needed a little bit more money to make the numbers work under self-managed super fund compliance, she's contributing $100 a week to her super fund to help make this model work. But because she has 28 years to retirement, $6.4 million asset working on these growth figures, average 9% growth, average 6% rental growth. But even if it's less, even if it ends up 3 million or 4 million and 183,000 rental income off one property, this is the power for the right people of a good property in a self-managed super fund. Okay, enough of the examples for today. Again, down, up. If you're watching this and this is relevant to you and where you're at in your career and your income and what you have got and what you want, how could you not? How could you not at least want to know and find out, right? Because here's the thing, and this is what I say to people. The richer you want to be come retirement, it's time that is key to your retirement rich plan. And it's not even just in a super fund property investment, it's actually for any property investment. I've got a very wealthy friend and he's a very savvy property investor. And one of the things that he always says, and I know has served him very well, is he never sells property. And most Australians will sell a property within 3 to 5 years. But the true potential of property, if you want real capital growth, real income and real wealth, it comes after about the 10th to 12th year. And when you start seeing the multiples, if you haven't already done this, when you start looking at the 15 and 18 and 20 year mark, the growth potential on a property is quite mind-blowing, actually. So whether you do this or not, you own a property, and I've thought about all the properties that I've had and sold. If I'd kept them, my God, who knows where I'd be. But financially, very, very different situation. So for me, everything I buy now, I'm just keeping and renting out and loving, which leads me to this point. For today, the 3 simple steps to make a self-managed super fund retire rich plan work successfully. It's these 3 things amongst many things, but the big rocks for today and the time we have is love your self-managed super fund property investment like it's your home. Love it. Like someone said to me, oh, but if I buy a property and, what if the toilet breaks? And I say to them, well, would you go get a toilet fixed by just calling a plumber to go to the property and fix it to make $3-4 million? Would you be okay with that? Or is Netflix or the football or golf or whatever else you're coming up with more important than that? Because here's the thing, guys, no time into an investment, no return. That's why fund managers and your investment fund in your super only gets a little return because you don't do anything. You put the money in, they do it all. So they're going to run it as they run it and you get a little return. You put in more time. If this is relevant for you, you buy a property, you set it all up. And once it's set up, I'll show you. It's actually not that hard. It's actually quite straightforward. It's just like paying your rent, paying your mortgage, just getting a few things in place, having a good accountant to do it, and I'll show you how. But would you be willing to have a toilet fixed now and then and take care of your tenants, to have this machine that's going to fund your retirement? I would like to think that you would say yes. So love your self-managed super fund property investment like you would love your home. Love it the same. And the next thing is love your tenants in your super fund property like you love your loved one. Like I love my girl and my dog. Love them. I know I'm being extreme here, but they are your tenants. Are you always going to have good tenants? No. Will you have good tenants most of the time? Yes. Would you buy property in a good area with good ongoing rent? Yes. You're not buying out in the middle of nowhere. Our lenders won't let you do that anyway. If you want our help with the loan and the property, there are specific areas, because I want to make sure that if you're lending money to buy a property in super, that it's got to be in a good growth area with good rental income, and it's got the potential to go up because this is your super. Everyone wants to make sure that you're keeping your money and you're growing it, but you've got good tenants in a good house and you take care of them. And you love to stay committed for the long term. This is not a 3-year strategy. This is not a 5-year strategy. This is a 15-year strategy. You're going to love that. You brush your teeth every day for years and years and years. You can take care of your property and your super fund for years and years and years. The house was there before. It'll be there in the future. But if you remember nothing else and this resonates with you and this could be a benefit to you, you can do this if you can remember these 3 points, and you can do it and you can benefit. Now, potential risks, benefits of a super fund. I'm not going to go through all of this. I've got a guide for you, but we have a detailed how to retire wealthy property investment guide that outlays all the bits and pieces to make sure that you understand a super fund, but it is worth it. And as another client of ours, and it was so lovely to receive this, a 44-year-old lady who's, now on the right path to investing in property and building her wealth. She's on track for a $4 million asset, come retirement, 110 plus income. And as she shared, if it's okay to share with you, I'd always been curious about a self-managed super fund to invest in property. I kept hearing about others doing it, but I wasn't sure if it was right for me. After chatting with me and our team, everything just clicked. They explained it in simple step-by-step way to make sense. I could really see how this strategy could benefit me from both an income and asset wealth for the future. I know it's a long-term play and comes with a responsibility, but now I feel confident and clear on how it works. It's not about being a financial expert. It's just about having the right guidance and knowing what's possible. Marie, Gold Coast. Nice. Thank you, Marie. All right, just real quickly on me. I'm going to keep moving because we've gone through a lot and took a little longer than I expected. But really quickly, my name is actually Marie. That is my fiance, and I'm helping her with her self-managed super fund property investment, and my team and accountant getting her set up. And that's our little dog, Johnny, and we live in the Gold Coast. But really coming down to business here. How did I get here? Well, I'm actually an active self-managed super fund investor myself and very passionate educator about this. I have a team of experts, a licensed planner, accountant. I'm a licensed real estate agent. I'm a registered ASIC mortgage broker. Got a diploma in finance. I've spoken to many people and helped educate and guide them on what's possible for their self-managed super funds and what potential that they can achieve from wealth, asset worth and income. And I have spoken and worked with IT professionals, government workers, health medical professionals, doctors, nurses, marketing salespeople, people in finance. So what I've discovered is everyone is the same. Everyone wants something. They want to know how to get it from the people I've spoken to, and if this is going to be right for them. And then if it is, we then go to the next step and the next step. Why I do this is I want people to get the right financial literacy and education. I want people to have unbiased guidance and education. This is not about making a commission on a property. This is not about just making money from a loan. Sure, we get paid for what we do. There are fees and charges which we go through, but our goal is to have people get a return on their investment. If someone's investing their super, we want to make sure that it's protected, they're in a good asset, so they have the potential to retire wealthy and much wealthier than keeping it in a fund with, no disrespect, they have very little control and they're at the mercy of everyone else. You can even have a self-managed super fund and leave some of your super in your employer fund and leave some in a property. So you can do that. As I said, my mission is to help 1,000 Australians retire rich and financially free by using smart self-managed super fund property investments. We offer this education. We have all the setup and service. We do all loans and self-managed super fund loans, and we can also offer property sourcing and management. We have 5 key steps for our clients that we take them through. Today, we're just here. We're just doing an initial door opening education on how self-managed super fund property investing works. And if this is something that we can help you with, or whoever you're talking to, we would then go to the next stage, which is have a conversation, speak to the planner and the accountant, make sure that this is right for you, then talk to me, and then I prepare the loan. Then once the accountant has set everything up, we go to the next stage and we go look for property, or you go buy your own property, or if you've got your own accountant. But we take one step, the next, and we'll go through this when we speak. But we've done this with all types of professionals from all types of industries and career backgrounds, and we can do this for you too. And my goal is to make it simple and fun, because we want everyone to get to this point where you've actually got so much more come retirement. And like anything that you've learned, you can learn how to do this too. Is self-managed super fund investing right for you? Well, we can find out together. And before we do though, I know it's a bit cheesy, but give yourself a high five, because if you're still watching this, I'm telling you, you are more ahead than most people by understanding the basics of what you need, who you need to be from a financial position, a mindset position, and what's possible for you to achieve with a self-managed super fund than most people ever will be. So well done, and thank you for staying with me. Now, if you want to find out more, and if we can help you figure out what your retirement goals are using a self-managed super fund, you can book a chat with me, and you can do that by emailing me at trevor@resultsinvestmentgroup.com. It's private, it's confidential. We take this very seriously. This is very much about just running some basic numbers, getting to know you, getting to know what you want, what your fears and concerns could be. No pressure. This is important work, and it would be a pleasure to help you to get more understanding of this strategy and if it's right for you. And what we'll do in this conversation when we catch up is we'll have a chat, we'll discuss your goals, we'll review the numbers, do some projections, and then you know your options and how and what to do to start. I will give you the projections and numbers. You can give it to your advisor, or if you're speaking to ours, then you've got a starting point. And then from there, once you've thought about it, you can confirm if and how you would like to help and how to proceed from there. But you can do this. And if it feels like it's aligned with you and you don't do anything, well, you've seen your options, and these are very real numbers. There's no magic that's going to happen where it's going to change unless you decide to go and take a step to create some change, to at least find out what's potentially possible for you moving forward. It is the risk, it is the action of a more smarter, emotionally self-aware person. I get that, but I believe that's you, and be a pleasure to talk to you about it. You will also get a copy of the How to Build Your Retirement Wealth and Income with Self-Managed Super Fund Property Investing, which has all the pros and cons, what a super fund is, how it's all set up, and you will get a copy of that. Actually, if you even want a copy of that before we meet, or even if we don't meet, I'm happy to give you a copy. If you email me at trevor@resultsinvestmentgroup.com, I will email you a copy of this guide that has all the legal and compliance information in it in a really easy to understand bullet point layout. When we meet, if we meet, what you will also get is we will do this projection template for you, and we can literally punch in the numbers, and we can literally give you a basic understanding of what the potential is for you on where you're at and what you want to achieve and how to get there and how to really figure out what's the end goal, starting from where you're at, what you have, what you need to get together. We'll do the numbers like our executive. By her putting an extra 100 in, made a big difference to the end goal. Maybe it's a bit of that, maybe it's none of that. But that's the power of doing these projections. You'll also get this checklist. I've actually built this now into another more comprehensive checklist that you can actually go through, and it's a lot more detailed, but you will actually get that Drive Your Self-Managed Super Fund Wealth Creation Guide checklist, so you know what to do at each stage to make this a very doable, achievable and plan to achieve and reach. Okay, I'm going to wrap up here. Thank you again, but why most people struggle? Well, the majority of people believe stories of doubt and fear, and they put everything else first before their own wealth creation. The stories say, oh, you've got to do your job, I'll get to it later. And this is the killer of most people's pain. Causes most people pain and struggle, is believing that fear and doubt, which is actually just part of being a human being whenever we're learning something new. But those who prosper, they're aware of those stories, but their goals are bigger. They're more emotionally aware, and they've got more important reasons. And as I said, 14 million Australians receive super, yet less than 7.8% self-managed super fund, and are working towards building a very, very much better. 14 plus million people receive some form of super, yet only 7.8% are doing something to be a more proactive builder of their own wealth by using a self-managed super fund. And if this has resonated with you, which group are you wanting to be in? Because I guess the saying goes that if you want to do better, do what the masses don't do the opposite. Why do you want to do this? One of my friends who has now got a self-managed super fund and has got his first property in there, he wants 3 cruises a year. And that would be your motivation to want to do this. Again, we can talk about that if we speak. Contact me at Trevor Russell. And let's find out your motivating reason why you want to do this. I skipped over it earlier, but the executive girl, she wants to go to Europe in her 60s and learn and study design and art. I mean, what a beautiful goal, and to have income coming in while she's doing that. That is the power of passive income, and that is the power of doing this now if this is right and feels right for you. So which path will you choose? Will you choose the path that is, well, let's just hope it all gets better because it all just seems a bit too hard and you'll end up where you end up? Or there is real relevance in what I've discussed and shared with you in this presentation, and you want to find out about what could be down this path to be a more savvy, smarter, motivated investor, to have greater drive and control to build financial freedom and to retire rich. We will show you how the numbers work so you can go away and think about whether this is right for you. And that would be an absolute pleasure to at least give you that option. But most importantly, if this is right for you, to help you go all the way. Because I've seen the cost to people that chose another path and are now paying the price when they could have done things differently. And that's why I'm also doing this, is I want to help people that can benefit by going down a smarter path and living a happier, healthier, wealthy life for all the years that you have ahead of you.